This is RRJ Online Academy. This is Rasul and welcome to the TOEFL IBT course. In this video, we are going to analyze an essay together. Basically, it is an IELTS essay, IELTS Task 2. But IELTS Task 2 is very similar to that of the TOEFL IBT. In this video, we are not focusing on the similarities and differences. All you need to know is that they are similar. Before we start the analysis, I should note that in this video, I'm not teaching how to write. If you want to learn how to write an independent essay, which is again similar with IELTS and also with GRE, please refer to the video under the name TOEFL IBT Writing Task 2 Guide in my channel. There I'm discussing how to write, what strategies to follow, what structure to use, what not to use. All I will do in this video is to correct this essay. And yes, I'm gonna be doing it live. It's not prepared before this video. This is basically the first time that I'm seeing this essay. So let's start, shall we? This is the question. Should an equal amount of financial support go into sports and socializing facilities as scientific equipment and libraries? So basically, let's first analyze the question. We have money coming into what? The first option is this. And the second part is this. And the key word is this equality. Governments have money, they want to spend it. How much they should dedicate to sports and socializing facilities, and how much to scientific equipment and libraries. How much is not the point here. Whatever it is, should that be equal for Group A and Group B or not? That's the question. Okay, before we start analyzing it, let's take a general look at the essay. Okay, the student's name is Mahdi. Thank you, Mahdi, for sending this essay. We have 328 words, not assisted, by which I suppose he means that he has written it alone, and 3 minutes. Very good. All right, your word count is good. If you can work on your typing speed and some skills a little bit, I suggest that you get it over 380. It's not a must, but I highly encourage you to do that. Alright, the first paragraph, introduction. It is argued by many that there should be an equal budget for science and social purposes in the country. Although many people agree with such an idea, I think scientific facilities should be the first priority for the government, the two most sensible reasons of which are da. Okay, Matty, instead of saying the first priority, go with priority. So when you say should be the priority, we understand what you're saying. And in academic writing, we want to write as short as possible and as clear as possible. I will not get into the concision skills, but there is a video, please watch that, it's gonna help you a lot. There I'm discussing a very famous academic writing book by Joseph Williams. So the thesis of that video is this: when you can say something in 2 words, don't say it in 3. Okay, I think scientific facilities should be the first priority for the governments, which I think you want to end the sentence here, so I suggest to use a comma here. See, when you don't, it's a bit confusing where the sentence finishes. Does it finish here with priority? Then it goes for the governments, the 2 most reasonable reasons. What? Sensible reasons. Or does it say the first priority for the government, comma, the 2 most sensible reasons for you, da. So make it clear, use comma. In this video, I'm going to use a color code system. Blue means I added, red means delete, and sometimes I will use crossouts like this. So have that in your mind. Alright, so this is your thesis statement. The 2 most sensible reasons of which are that reaching an advancement in science needs a great deal of money. So this is reason 1. And scientific progress is far more important for governments. This is reason 2. Okay, Mahdi, I'm gonna do a little bit of a surgery here. In academic writing, we do not like extreme language, like the most something, like the worst book, the best library. to be able to use the superlative form of the adjectives, you need to first give me a list in which you compare that item that you have in mind with other ones. For example, here you're saying the two most sensible reasons of which are da 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 da. You first need to show me, like, look, there are 20, 30, whatever reasons, and the reason that I'm claiming that these are most sensible is this reason. Have you done that in this essay? No, so you cannot claim that they are the most sensible reasons. Don't use superlatives. Use a softer and milder language. Instead of saying the two most sensible, go with two important reasons. The two important reasons of which are... Now, this is fine. This is not wrong, but what if instead of this you used something simpler? Something like, I have two reasons. There are two reasons. There are two main reasons. The reason I'm asking you to do this is that in modern academic writing, we say, do not hold your audience as educated people. When you write, think that you're writing to lowly educated people, like people who come to universities from high schools. Don't make it complex, keep it simple, work on your structure. So, and the thing that's going to get you the score in IELTS and TOEFL is not the complexity of sentences in which you write like Shakespeare. Rather, it's the simplicity, but well-structuredness of the essay. So, in the first paragraph, I need to see this support paragraph, and in the second support paragraph, I need to see this. Let's see if you have done that. I'm gonna select this. Reaching an advancement in science needs a great deal of money. So I should see that here. Alright, needless to say, scientific amenities are very expensive, and amenities means facilities, or sources facilities, are very expensive and need a huge capital cost compared with the other practices such as sports facilities. But Matty, here's a tip. It is needless to say needless to say, so don't do that. Our time has changed a little bit. We don't like unnecessary things. Go with that. Nothing will change, does it? I'm not asking you to cut out transitions. The transitions that are helpful and they give directions to your writing, sure, please do that. But needless to say, like I said, it's already needless to say. In fact, building any scientific structure coincides with a lot of other expenses like high-tech instruments, which increase costs, which we will not face such costs in other segments. Alright, Matty, this sentence needs help. You gotta make it a bit more understandable. Having in mind that this is not wrong, what if I deleted this and instead said this? Beautiful, isn't it? Just one word instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. And it has the same meaning. So why use 5 words when you can say it in one? Yes, I know you're gonna say, oh, when we use such things, we add elegance to your writing. I have told it in my other videos, I'm gonna be repeating it here. When you do that, it's only you who thinks you're adding special elegance to your writing. Your reader is confused, don't do that. Thank you. If you write a book like this, it's gonna be 5 books, but if you write it with this mentality, the same thing is gonna be only 1 book. Now, draw your own conclusions. Which one do you think is better? Yes, that one. Has other expenses, like high-tech instruments, which increase costs, which we will not face such costs in other... Okay, we need help here. Which increases costs of what? First tell me that. Make the sentence a bit more understandable. Alright, Matty, you're saying building any scientific structure has other expenses like high-tech instruments. But here is the thing. I cannot read your mind. I don't know what is going on in your mind. I don't understand what this sentence is saying. So, unless you want to give particular examples here, your reader is confused. Building any scientific structure. First, give me a name of scientific structure so I know what you have in mind. Then, give me an example of some other expenses, other side expenses, like high-tech instruments. High-tech instruments like what? give me something so that I can compare this one as a side expense to the original cost. I have no idea what you mean here. Which increases costs, which we will not face such costs in da-da-da-da-da. Which. Don't repeat. Instead, let's actually put a semicolon here and say we will not face such costs in other segments. Beautiful. Now this is fixed. I didn't use the word which. As an illustration, based on the statistics, structuring the central laboratory of Tabriz University has been cost $1 million, while the Yadigar Imam Sports Complex, which is the biggest sport complex in the northwest of Iran, has been built by half of it. Yeah, this is not wrong, but better. Okay, a point here. When you say Yadigar Imam Sports Complex, you're not using English words, and you cannot use any non-English words like that in the text. Either you're going to italicize it, pointing that this is a non-English word, or some systems say use quotation marks around it. As an illustration based on statistics. What is statistics? Not clear. Get it out. We don't need that. Unless you point to the statistics, saying that according to the statistics published in Jam Jam newspaper, the rest. Unless you point to such a source, this is you forcing some statistics into your writing, trying to say, oh, I have used statistics in my writing. But what is statistics? Where? Why should I believe that? Why should I trust that? How is that reliable? I have no idea. Give me the source. Alright, thus an equal budget is not sensible for scientific and social projects. Okay, there is no grammar mistake here, but there is a reasoning problem-ish thing. Not a problem, just a problem-ish thing. You are saying Tabriz University library costs X, but a sports complex costs half that money. So what? Just because building a laboratory costs more than building a sport complex, and just consider this sentence alone, does that justify spending more money into that? I know what's going on in your mind. You want to say that there is more need in the scientific cases compared to athletic ones because they cost more money. But when you give example, you got to make it more convincing. You got to justify your example. You shouldn't let your example just hang in there for the reader to draw conclusions based on. When you write, consider you're writing to a very slow mind kid. So I'm gonna put myself into that student's position. I'm 18 years old. I'm a little bit slow. I'm reading this. I have no idea. Alright, I read your sentence and I'm gonna say, alright, so what? Why should I accept that? Why should I believe that? Whenever you write, always have this mind. Your reader is having the opposite view of what you are arguing for. Write it like that, your writings will be more convincing. I'm gonna, for the fun of it, take the opposite view, alright? I'm gonna say, no, we need more money in the sports domain. So you're writing me a letter, something like this, to convince me. Does that example convince me? Well, no, it doesn't. How do you fix that? Well, you could go like this. Okay, this is what you had in mind, didn't you? You're gonna say, well, duh, of course, why should I write that? It's obvious. No, it's not obvious. You gotta justify your position. It's not your reader's job to make inferences of your head. The reader should see things on paper and draw minor inferences. Okay, now this is fixed and your point is taken, but you have not answered this yet. Building any scientific structure has other expenses like da-da-da-da-da. When you introduce something like this, either you should support this or get rid of it. Here, in the rest of this paragraph, you have not discussed it. So what you can do is either get rid of this completely because you haven't supported it. It's unjustified, unacceptable. How can we fix this? I'm gonna do it for you. Okay, I'm gonna add an example here illustrating how this could be fixed. And voila. The point is this. You're saying structuring this laboratory, there were some other costs. I'm gonna give an example illustrating that. I'm gonna say when the officials in Tabriz University were building and equipping the medical laboratories, decorating it with the MRI and laser machines, why I added this? Like I said, when you say something general, like this, add something specific. Give me names. Instead of saying I like paintings, say I like paintings like Mona Lisa. Or instead of saying I like European countries, say I like European countries like Italy. Be specific. Give names. Other than the estimated costs, which was around $700,000, they faced some unexpected expenses. To elaborate, not being able to install and run the high-tech programs required for these machines, they had to hire some experts from Norway, an unexpected plan which cost them $300,000 more than what they had in mind. Now this illustrates what you have in your mind. I'm not saying whether this example and this point as a whole from here to here justifies the question is another thing. I'm basically pointing it out that in this paragraph, your point is this. You have to develop it well. I'm not saying that this is justifying or is not justifying your answer to the question. Some might argue otherwise, for example. Some might say, well, there are unexpected costs in socializing facilities and sports facilities as well. The same complex athletic building, which one was it? Yadagari Imam, that you pointed out, might have cost something that was not expected. Why should I believe that it's going to be more in the scientific domain compared to the athletic domain? To which you should respond on paper, because scientific constructions require high expertise and they involve high complexities. There are more unexpected issues in dealing with scientific compared to the social or athletic constructions. This would justify your point, but I don't see that in this paragraph, so you should address that. How should you fix that? All you need to do is come here, add another sentence arguing that, look, when I said that scientific domains require more expertise, I had this in my mind. So, scientific structures has lots of other expenses, and the reason for this extra cost in science is that such domains require a high expertise compared with athletic and social facilities, a high demand because of which there are more unexpected issues popping up in scientific processes. You're gonna say, well, Rasul, this is a very, very long paragraph, and I'm gonna agree with you. But the reason that this paragraph got very long is that this is not what I have written. I'm trying to fix something that you have already written. So fixing takes more space. When you write, you don't necessarily have to write this long for a paragraph. You're encouraged to do so if you can write fast, but you don't have to. Now, this paragraph is good now. Here you have argued, well, we need more money for the scientific purposes compared to athletic, social facilities, which is why we should spend more money. And considering these blue parts, yeah, this is convincing now. So if I was an opponent to your view, I would have been in a position to agree with you. Alright, the second paragraph, the second support paragraph is gonna deal with this. Scientific progress is far more important for governments. Okay, let's see how Mahdi is going to convince us. And here I should note that Mahdi is from Iran, so a hat tip here for my hometown people. I love you guys. In today's competitive world, each country tries to be more effective than before, especially being ahead of the game in economy, which is not accessible except giving attention to science more than any other field. Okay, Mahdi, this is a bit confusing. Make it more accessible to a slow kid. Also, your introductory sentence is better be short and to the point. So what if instead of this, we do this? I cut it open, I add another sentence. Boom. So that's your topic. Now you're here giving the details Don't put details in your topic sentence. Each country tries to be more effective than before, especially being ahead of the game in economy. I already said that, feel free to delete it, which is not accessible, except, oh, I think you mean this. Except giving attention to science more than any other fields. Alright, Matthew, considering this sentence, first, you're gonna have to convince me how and why they should give more attention to science than other fields. Why? I hope you have done it in the rest of the paragraph. Also, what do you mean by more effective? It's not understandable. You gotta be more specific. It's like me saying, well, countries should be more useful. Okay, but useful in what area? You don't know, do you? Right, because I have it in my mind. Because, unfortunately, I can't read your mind, I have no idea what you mean by more effective. Make it clear. Now, let's see if you are going to convince me here. More attention to science. Why? Indeed, the more progress in science, the easier road to gain an edge among others. Among others what? Not clear. You're writing to a slow kid, remember? Now, I think you had this in mind. The easier the road to gain an edge in non-scientific areas. Okay, yeah. Now, this is becoming more understandable. I need more specific examples, but you're getting a bit more specific. The US, which I encourage you to write with A, can be a great example of this, who have invested in science more than any other country by which it has the most powerful army. Okay, sweet sentence, but first, it needs to be has. Because there's only one USA, and thank God that is the case. We have enough trouble with them already. We can't afford another one. The world does not need another one. What they did in Iraq. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have gotten into this. Anyways, back to writing. The USA can be a great example of this. You're gonna put a comma here, and you're gonna say a nation that, we don't need that who there, a nation that has invested in science more than any other country, comma, and accordingly, it has the most powerful army. Now, there is a reasoning problem here. I see the point you are trying to make, but this is a little bit of a problematic premise to conclusion case. Just because they spend a lot of money on science does not necessarily mean that they have a great army. There are other countries who have spent lots and lots of money on their scientific experiments, but they do not have a great army. So, do you see the point I'm trying to make? I'm pointing out that there is a reasoning problem here. That is not necessarily the case, that their army is powerful, the most powerful, because they have spent more money on science. Maybe the reason that they have the strongest army in the world because they have no boundaries and they just set military bases in every country they like a colony, and they drink other countries' blood, and they grow accordingly. Maybe some might say, well, not me, wink wink, some might say, so maybe that's the case. Anyways, back to the writing. That's not the case here. So you gotta fix that. You could very simply fix this sentence by making it a bit narrower here. You can say they have spent enormous amounts of money on scientific military experiments, which is why they have good army. So instead of going with the scientific areas, go with scientific military cases. That would make your case sharper. Let's continue. It is believed that had they not invested in science as vastly as they did, they will not be a powerful country such this. Okay, who believes that? You're using meta discourse, but it's not necessary. So if I delete it, would anything change? Well, no. So why do that? Had they not invested in science as vastly as they did? Why future? they would not have been such a powerful country. Therefore, science has a lot of superiority than social issues for governments. This is inaccurate. The question is not about social issues. The question is about like making investments on social facilities. So be more accurate. But I'm not going to be too strict about it. Now, Matthew, this paragraph is good, but I want to see more statistics. I want to see more numbers. Like how much money in dollars do they spend on their military experiments, scientific experiments yearly? And compare it in that example with another country who has spent less dollars on their military scientific experiments, which is why they have a less powerful army. So here you have 140 words. Not bad, but you need to increase it a little bit. And if you inject the information I ask you to inject, it will be enough. And this paragraph will be more convincing. Alright, in conclusion, there cannot be an equal budget between science and other projects because not only do scientific plan need a big investment money, but also they are the most decisive factor in foreign policy and national strength. What? No. Don't introduce something new in the conclusion paragraph. Just stick to something that is familiar. Discuss these. You have not discussed foreign policies yet, so we do not want that here. Don't give me something new when I want to say goodbye to your essay. But before that, you're saying here there cannot be an equal budget between science. Of course they can. There can be equal budget between this and this. That's not the point. What you're saying is that there shouldn't be, or it is better that there not be. That's the point you're saying. Well, logically, of course they can. You can make equal budgets for everything. So get rid of this. You could say this, but again, why not make it straightforward? There you go. This is simpler, isn't it? Governments should not spend subject, verb, object. Follow subject, verb, object. It will help your writings. Also, on that note, if you want to make your sentences more professional and clear to the reader, I have made 3 videos in which I'm discussing some advanced issues about academic writing. The names are clarity, cohesion, concision. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Watch them. They're gonna help your writings a lot. Unless you watch those videos, lots of things I said here is not gonna make sense to you. So watch them. They're gonna help you. Because not only do scientific need an investment, well, investment, we know you were talking about money, but also they are the most decisive. Remember what we said in the introduction? Don't use superlatives. They are decisive factors. Make the sentences milder. Don't use extreme language. They are decisive factors in foreign policy. Great factors in where? In scientific progress. In making countries grow more economically, or in your case, from a military point of view. But foreign policy, I'm not going to delete this. It's not wrong, but I wouldn't have introduced it here. Okay, this is good. Let's see what's our word count now. We have written 504 words, but we have some cross out, so I'm going to say 480, which is a bit long, but if you can do it, if you can type fast, it's amazing. Do it in the exam. It's going to pay you well. But you shouldn't be writing just empty things to extend your lines. You gotta be short and to the point, and despite that, you gotta have a long essay. Otherwise, keep it short. Alright, Matty, this is good. I like it. If you fix this part, this paragraph also needs help, but this needed more help, I think. Otherwise, this is a good essay. I like it, and congratulations. Keep going like this. Your instructor has helped you well. You have a clear structure in your mind when you're writing. That says something about your teacher. He or she has done a good job. So offer my regards to him or her. So the points I mentioned are just polishing. When the officials read your essays, they're not going to do this. They just read the essay and score it. The reason that I've been correcting your essays so carefully is that I want you to learn. That's all. In the exam, they're not going to do this. But these are some polishing points. For example, you're not going to lose anything here, or basically you would never lose anything here. These are just advanced points, small but advanced points I want you to learn. If you want to polish your writings, talk to your teacher. Also, watch the videos I told you. After you learn those skills and you're comfortable doing so, start reading academic writing books.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe to help the channel, and stay tuned for the other videos.